Think like a hustler. To become a more successful hustler, you must develop the thought process of a hustler. And if you don't know what a hustler is somebody who's constantly making money, constantly involved in business, constantly thinking like an entrepreneur, is always on the grind. A hustler never gives up. A hustler does what he's supposed to do, or she's supposed to do, to provide for their family, to provide for themselves. And they don't bitch and complain. They do what they have to do because it's part of life, and they know what their obligations are, and they know what their duties are as an adult, as a human being, and as a member of society. Regardless what you do as your hustle or your career, you need to first develop a particular mindset, the proper mindset of becoming a hustler. I have 3 tips for developing your thought process and becoming a hustler, and I think they're very important. And I believe everyone probably realizes this, but they don't necessarily implement these. So the first tip I have for you is work hard. Everyone knows you need to work hard, but in being a hustler, you must work harder. You must work smarter, and you must realize that nothing's going to come easy, and you must dedicate your time, your body, your mind, and everything else in between to thinking more like a hustler. So work hard. Step number 1. Step number 2 is dedication. To be a real hustler and to think like a hustler and have that mentality of a hustler, you must have dedication. You must be committed to what you're doing. You must be committed to what your goals are and what your dreams are and what your ambition is. If you lose sight of that, sometimes it's hard to be successful in becoming a hustler or thinking like a hustler. Step number 3 is, what are you doing it for? Most people say it's for this, right here, what you see, the money. That's not necessarily why I hustle. I hustle for myself. I hustle for the growth. I hustle to see what I can accomplish in this world, and I hustle for my family. Whatever your reason is for hustling, figure it out and make it very evident in your life that that's why you're hustling and that's what you're doing for. Being a hustler isn't easy, and some of the best hustlers can tell you firsthand that it doesn't always come natural to everyone. Some people develop the hustler mentality overnight, and some people it takes years, and some people are constantly working on their hustle or their mentality of becoming a hustler in it because it's a slowly evolving thing. It's something that just happens naturally to some, and to others they must try a little harder. But everyone has that ability to be a hustler or think like a hustler. They just don't necessarily realize it. A true hustler is constantly evolving. You're constantly growing, constantly changing, adapting to the new elements, adapting to what's going on, and always willing to change what they need to in order to be more successful and to be better at being a hustler and having that mentality or that thought process of being a hustler. So remember that if you aren't a great hustler, it's okay. If you don't think like a hustler right now, that's fine. But if you plan on having significant wealth someday, or plan on being a salesman, or if you plan on doing numerous different things, you must think like a hustler, and you must continue to grow. If you learn anything from this video, I want you to realize that thinking like a hustler and being a hustler is one and the same, but they're different. The thinking like a hustler is completely what's going on in your head and why you hustle. Being a hustler is actually applying the application and what you're thinking and putting it into practicality and utilizing it. So when you think like a hustler, you think better, you think wiser, you think smarter, you think longer, you think harder. I want everyone to think like a hustler. I want everyone around me to act like a hustler. I want everyone around me to be a hustler. So think like a hustler and you'll become a hustler. But just because you think like a hustler doesn't mean you become a hustler. You have to apply the applications, and you have to do the things necessary to become a hustler. It's a step-by-step process, and if you follow it, you'd be surprised at what you can accomplish. That's all I got for today. I want y'all to start thinking more like a hustler. Start thinking more about what you want in this world and what you want to accomplish and what makes you do what you do on a daily basis. Almost like what's your why in this world. Everybody has a why, and it's different for everyone. But things like that help you develop your mentality and keep your mentality stronger when you're thinking like a hustler. So think bigger, think better, think longer, think harder.